I'll do that. Okay, I will.
Sometimes I have to keep on breathing in. My lungs are filled with too
Welcome, goalies. Hope everyone's doing really well today. It's Coach Devin Butts here. Glad to have you all here. Glad you could all make it. Appreciate you tuning into the stream that we have. There's a couple things. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or if you're a Goalrobber regular here, we're excited. We have a good seminar lined up for you today. It's our mission to bring you world-class training that's affordable and it's whole person oriented. And every week, what we do with our goalies is we do this thing called Tendy Talk. And basically, it's our way to connect goaltending to the real world, connect goaltending to everything else in the world, because everything in our world collides. Everything is grouped together. And Coach Nate's going to talk about some great things today, and we're really excited. Part of the discussion here is going to be about techniques that will improve your performance. It'll improve your recovery time after strenuous workouts, your general mood, and overall, it'll just make you a more resilient athlete and person in the end. So we hope that you stick around through it, and we're really glad that you made it here today. It's now my pleasure to announce our guest speaker today. He's currently working on obtaining his PhD with an emphasis on goaltender analytics. He is the undefeated ping pong champion at the Goalrobber facility, and join me in welcoming my longtime coach, mentor, and friend, Nate Spidell.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm extremely excited to be chatting a little bit about a topic that I've become really passionate about just relatively recently over the probably the past year or so. And like Butsy said, I am currently pursuing my PhD in motivation theory, and I'm going to be focusing on goalies. So, what motivates goaltenders? Because we are a unique group of athletes, and as Devin said, I'm the owner and founder of Goalrobber, and we're just really passionate about goalie development. So, um, I've got a presentation that I'm really excited to share with you, and I think we're going to get her started right away here. So, before we do get started, I just want to put a little preface here. I know you see this often in presentations when I'm talking about overall health and things, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm pursuing my PhD, but we're not doctors, and so any of the stuff we talk about today, we definitely don't want you to take it to any extremes or diagnosing things or anything like that. So if you feel like any of this stuff would affect you adversely, you certainly want to chat with your doctor or medical professional about it. So I have a question for everybody, and that is, if I could share something with you that would increase your mood, it would decrease inflammation throughout your body, it would reduce stress, help you focus better, help you sleep better, could improve your immune system, and it could reduce anxiety or depression if you struggle with that, make you more resilient, and even um, possibly extend your lifespan, help you to live longer. Would you be interested in knowing what that thing is? And I think all of us would probably find at least one reason in that list that we would be excited to improve, right? And so I'm a lifelong learner, as I know a lot of you are too. And I've just been finding ways to try to make myself better. Struggle with a few health things, overall pretty healthy, but I always want to be my absolute best. And so possibly the um, possibly a little bit unexpected is the simplicity of this solution. And so we've got some comments on our YouTube channel here. If you guys want to take a few guesses as to what this could be, something that most of us, all of us do most every day. So I'd say all of us do this probably every single day, and a slight modification to this would help in all those areas. Feel free to post questions, comments, suggestions in our chat on YouTube too. So without further ado, the simple solution or the simple factor that could be helping in all these areas is something known as cold exposure. Okay, so cold exposure, and I'm going to define that real quickly as an intentional exposure to cold water or air for health benefits. Okay, so on the side here I have that it's cold, smooth, and tasty, right? It's probably not the adjectives you'd think about when you think about cold, because we have often seen cold as something that's kind of an enemy, right? It's maybe not very pleasurable. We've heard our mom and dad say, hey, put your coat on. You don't want to get cold because you might get sick, those types of things. But there's a growing body of research that is now finding that cold exposure on a regular basis actually helps our body. And so I'm going to quote the uh, famous and world record holder Wim Hof. He says that cold is our warm friend, and that cold exposure starts a cascade of health benefits, including fat loss. So, if we're looking to lose weight or just reduce your body fat, reduce inflammation, which we know inflammation is a culprit for a lot of different health issues, and especially for athletes who really push themselves to the limit, their bodies can become inflamed and injured. Fortify your immune system, balance hormones, improve your sleep quality, and produce something called endorphins, which help to elevate your mood. Okay, so there's a ton of different benefits, and I have been doing research on this for, I would say, months, more intensively over the past couple of weeks in preparing for this talk. But I have also myself been exercising cold exposure regularly, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can implement into your life if you choose. So I would implore you to stick with us throughout this 20-minute or so Tendy talk, because there's going to be little snippets as we go through. So as I said, the basic components that cold exposure can help with are recovery for performance, our immune system, and the mental side of it, so mood, focus, and mental health. Now, the thing that I want to focus on, or the component I want to focus on most, is actually the mental side, because there are studies that show the benefits on our performance, on recovery, and on the immune system. But I think what you'll find as the benefit that happens most rapidly or right away, early on in your journey with cold exposure, is actually going to be your mood. And we're going to talk more about that as we go through. Okay, if you were to look into cold exposure, you wouldn't have to look very long to run into somebody by the name of Wim Hof, and he has something called the Wim Hof method. Now, he's also known as the Iceman. He holds like some 20 plus world records for cold exposure and some really incredible feats, like hiking mountains, snow-capped mountains in his shorts, and just kind of crazy stuff like that. But his method focuses on three elements. It's breath control, cold exposure, and commitment. And again, we're just going to be focused on primarily on the cold exposure, but you're going to see that breathing is an important part of that, and actually the commitment piece is important too. So, what is probably the easiest way that we can expose ourselves to cold in a controlled environment? Again, I alluded to it earlier, but it's something that we do every single day, and it's something that can be modified very easily and manipulated very easy throughout the process, and that is to incorporate cold exposure into your shower. Okay, now before we have everybody who's listening or tuning in kind of go, no way, man, I'm not trying this out, done with this Tendy talk. I want to again implore you to hang tight and to kind of hear all the benefits that happen throughout a cold shower, or at least part of your shower being cold. So it's powerful because of its simplicity, right? And because it's something we do daily. So if I were to be helping a goaltender or just somebody, anybody in general, to improve their life, improve their performance, whatever it might be, we're probably going to start with the things that are easiest to change or easiest to modify. Now, if I told you for cold exposure, you would need to fill up a huge tub with water and ice, prepare yourself for this, empty it afterwards, and so on. It'd just be a lot of work, right? It's probably not something you have time for. And the more obstacles that get in the way of us trying some new habit or forming a new habit, the less likely we are to do it. But we can actually hook this habit of cold exposure into a habit that's already been formed from a very young age, which is showering, or if you take a bath, you could take ice baths and things too. But I also want to tell you that this is something that I do every single time I shower. Now, it wasn't totally easy to start this habit, but if I were to share one of my habits, one of the most powerful and impactful habits with other people, it would be cold exposure through showering. And it's something that I do every single time I shower now. And in fact, I look forward to it. I almost crave being able to have my cold exposure through shower. So there's a few different things that we can do as goaltenders with this cold exposure through showering. You can do this pre-game. So this will probably be for some of our more elite athletes who, they've got really big games, and they shower after their games, or they've got showers in their locker room. But there are elite athletes who currently use this, and the order would be, after you're done with your pregame warm up and right before you're about to get into your goalie gear, you could take a cold shower. So you hop into the shower, again, anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 to 3 minutes, and take a cold shower. And what you'll notice is that it's going to heighten your awareness and your alertness, your energy, and your focus. And again, from my own experience and from the body of literature that I looked into, which I will cite here at the end and share with you guys in the comments as well. This is probably one of the quickest benefits that you'll experience from cold exposure through shower, and that is you are going to find a sense of great clarity, a boosted mood, and alertness. You're going to get a ton of energy from a shower. So I'll just give an analogy here. If you've ever been to a cold lake in the summer, right, or a cold pool in a hotel or something like that, and you've jumped into the lake, when you come out, the first thing people do is run around like crazy, right? They've got all this energy that's been almost released from the cold exposure. And so from my own experience, that's one of the biggest things. If I'm feeling lethargic, if I don't have energy, I just need a boost of focus. I can, shower, end my shower with cold, and it's incredible how energetic I feel. So pre-game or pre-performance, you can take a cold shower and get some benefits. Then recovery, which would be after your game or after a really intense workout or whatever it is, you can incorporate cold exposure. And studies have shown that it's going to, reduce inflammation and soreness. If you have an injury, we all, have probably all put an ice pack on a sore muscle or, an injury or something like that. A cold shower is going to do something much the same with how the cold interacts with our body and the inflammation markers in our body. And then finally, you could incorporate cold exposure daily, which again would be through showering. I think that's the easiest and most convenient way to do so. And the benefits on a daily basis, this would be regularly, would be an increased immune system, increased mood, and resiliency. Now, the resiliency piece is something that I think is one of the best kept secrets of cold exposure. And there is a researcher by the name of David Sinclair, and I've got his book right here. I'll have to put a link in the description here. It's called Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. Addresses and has done a bunch of research into not only cold exposure, but just generally exposing our body to challenging environments. Wim Hof would also agree with this, in addition to other studies, that either extreme heat or extreme cold, or really just even adverse conditions like fasting, intermittent fasting, or fasting on occasion is going to make our body more resilient, and it's actually shown to increase our lifespan. And as a goalie, as an athlete, to build resilience, to build grit, to harden, not to be too soft, as they might say, but was going to allow us to just be overall more effective, power through workouts, power through games, power through challenges in life, because we've been resilient on these small things on a daily basis, like cold exposure. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk about specifically some advice I would give on how to do or how to utilize this cold exposure on a daily basis through showering. Okay, number one, the good news. I've got good news for you. The good news is number one is to take a shower how you would regularly do. And I'm assuming you shower with hot or warm water. So, again, the good news is you don't have to think about showering in the cold the whole entire time. In fact, there's a study a study or two that I ran across that shows that the most optimal benefit of cold exposure comes with alternating warm and cold. So think of like a heat pack alternating with an ice pack, but you're in the shower, you're taking your normal shower, enjoying your shower, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, hot, steamy shower. And we know that warm water cleans our body and our hands and stuff better anyway. So take a shower like you normally would. 95 to 99% of your shower experience can be the exact same, and you get the benefit of cold exposure at the end. Okay, so you're done with cleaning, yourself in the shower. You're let's say just 2 minutes out from being done, 2-3 minutes out. Then what I would encourage you to do is to phase in the cold. So turn the temperature to lukewarm. Okay, so like maybe halfway. And so, your body's gonna be nice and warm, probably relaxed, which you might think, oh, that's a good thing. I want to be relaxed. But actually, a lot of heat will make us lethargic. So think of in the morning, if you're showering, you're off to school, you want to wake up, it can kind of make you groggy. So we're going to phase out of that hot water to lukewarm. And then, let that run over your body. I want to mention too, the top of your head and your neck and your face are really, really sensitive and receptive to temperature. So you're going to want to make sure that you allow that shower to run over the top of your head and your face because you have a lot of receptors there. So yeah, so however long it takes you at that lukewarm, you're going to kind of acclimate to lukewarm. And then when you're ready, we're on the last phase, which is just the last 30 seconds to up to 2 or 3 minutes of your shower. When you're ready, make the water as cold as is bearable for you. Okay. Now that right away might not be as cold as the shower goes, right? For me, I remember a few months ago when I started doing this, I kind of took some baby steps, but it maybe was, let's say, 80% as cold as it could be, or maybe even 60%. And you're going to find that number one, you're going to really enjoy the benefits of even a lukewarm or cool shower at the end, that you're going to get curious about it and you're going to wonder, hey, how far can I push this? And secondly, it's just kind of it's going to be a journey. So you'll become more resilient as you go on, and you'll be able to make it colder. So the goal would be eventually that that you would get that all the way down to almost as cold as possible. And you can even take more steps than just hot to lukewarm and then as cold as possible. Maybe there's 4 increments, where it's it's lukewarm, then it's 60% as cold as you could get, 80%, and then 95. I'll admit I don't go all the way so that there's absolutely zero heat, in part because I actually stay in that cold environment for, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes. And sometimes it can get really, really, really cold. The water at our house gets really cold. So, be careful that, you're not obviously, getting so cold. Like, for an example, today I took a cold shower about an hour ago to get ready for this talk. So I was alert and focused and ready. And I let the cold water, as cold as it could be, run over the top of my head. And I almost got like a brain freeze. And I knew, hey, it's probably a little bit cool, so I should, stop allowing it to be on the top of my head and just focus on my back and my neck and so on. But breathe deeply. You see a note here under step 3. You want to make sure that you breathe deeply. Okay. Now it's going to take your breath away. If what's up, Blake? Yeah, Wim Hof method. The guy's an absolute legend. The cold water is going to take your breath away if it's cold enough. So it's going to force you to breathe deeply. So focus on nice deep inhalation, exhale, and keep doing that. That's the breath control element that's naturally going to happen for you if you're breathing and conscious of your breath. So enjoy for 30 seconds to 2 minutes. You can push yourself. I would say you probably don't want to be in cold exposure much more than 5 to 7 minutes. But those are kind of the incremental steps that I would encourage. Okay, if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments, and we'll do our best. We're going to have a Q&A and a little chat, Coach Butts and I at the end. But I'm going to give you a few tips from my experience. Again, I can't emphasize enough how much I would encourage people to incorporate cold showers, either pre-game, post-game or workout, and especially in your daily routine, especially when 95% of your shower can be just as you're used to, and the very last portion of it is this cold exposure. So a few tips from myself, aka the Spider Pig. Number one, music helps. So if you're one who listens to music, if you've got music going on in the background, upbeat music or whatever, it's going to be a little intense, right away, especially if you get the water down to, really cold. So sometimes doing a little jig in the shower, or shaking your hands or fidgeting with your fingers or something like that, just get some movement. That's part of it, is the energy too that your body's releasing in response to cold, and you're going to feel energized. Part of it's you're going to want to move. A primal yell. Okay, if you look into the research on cold exposure, or even some other fields, there's something called a primal yell. You get let out a little yip or something like that. Make sure you let your parents know, if they're around, that you're trying this out, everything's okay in the shower. And then don't forget to breathe. Okay, I mentioned that before, but take deep breaths in, nice controlled breaths out, and just try to be present, with that feeling, that experience. And then the fourth one, which is kind of cool, and coming back to Wim Hof's comment about cold is our warm friend. It's interesting that the cold sensation is very similar to hot. So, if you've ever touch something really, really cold, it almost feels like it burns, right? So if you want, you can actually mentally think of the cold as though it's actually a hot shower. And I've tried this out recently, and it works out really beautifully. You're just thinking to yourself, man, this is a nice hot shower, and it actually kind of can trick your brain into thinking that it's hot as well. Okay, so in kind of the last portion of the talk here, I've got a kind of a summary at the end, but I want to challenge you guys to what I'm just going to call the cold shower challenge. So I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe it's already a thing. I don't know. But it's an opportunity for you to be your best self and to kind of join us and maybe a goalie community into just making yourself the best possible you. I'll summarize and review the benefits of a cold shower again, but it's kind of fun to be able to hold one another accountable, to celebrate with one another when we've taken that challenging step. And so what I want to encourage you to do is, if you're in our private Facebook group for our clients, to post, that you took the cold shower challenge. So it could just be, hey guys, took the hashtag cold shower challenge, so we can encourage one another. What I want to challenge you guys to do is to go, actually 7 days. So 7 days with at least ending your shower with lukewarm or cold. Okay, that's going to be the cold shower challenge. If you just did one cold shower and you're proud of that, certainly, post about that. Let us know. We'd love to hear about your steps that you're taking. Okay, so the cold water challenge is something that Coach Butts, myself, and our goalie community hopefully will enjoy as we just continue to be our best. Okay, so a quick review. Cold exposure and cold therapy has performance, immune system, and mental benefits. I didn't talk a lot about the immune system, but there is some cool studies that show that the white blood cells actually increase when you have cold exposure. There's brown fat that will increase in your body as well, that has a lot of great health benefits. And I've personally seen a benefit in my health. I know with the COVID-19, with cold and flu season, just generally as an athlete, we want to be taking care of ourselves. So coupled with good sleep, good diet, exercise, I think cold therapy and research shows that it really does a nice job. The one study I cite at the end actually studies the people who go to work, and those who had cold exposure actually had reported fewer sick days that they had to take at work. So it was a cool study to see the benefits on that. Mental health, again, I think that's the biggest benefit for cold exposure is you will notice when you take a cold shower. In fact, I've gotten into the habit, if I'm just in a bad mood, and I just know that I'm just in a bad mood, I'm a grouch, and I'm not fun to be around for my family, I might even just say, I got to go take a shower and end it with cold. I'll come out with just so much more positive outlook on life, better energy, better mood. And there is a study that I cite that studies the effects of cold exposure on anxiety and depression as well. And there's really encouraging results. So if you're one who is currently is struggling with that, or someone anxiety and depression, it engages the parasympathetic nervous system and allows us to know that even in situations that seem like they're kind of an emergency, that we can still be in control, that we can overcome them, that we can be resilient. And so there's just incredible benefits there. Okay, number two, showers are one of the most convenient ways to regularly incorporate cold therapy. I want to, also mention if you're up for taking ice baths, filling the tub with ice and so on. It's a little bit of a different topic, but you can immerse yourself or submerge yourself in that ice bath for no more than like 5 minutes, because of course you can get frostbite if you push the cold exposure too far. But a shower, it's already a daily habit that you can, as they say, hook into, and it makes it more likely to happen. And after you do that for 5 to 7 days, maybe a few more than that, it just becomes part of your routine, and it actually is something you look forward to. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. In addition to all the other benefits that cold exposure has. And then finally is the cold shower challenge. So send us a message or let us know if you've taken the cold shower challenge, and we look forward to celebrating with you a small step that could have significant benefits for you. So again, we just want to empower you. That's one of our goals at Goalrobber. Our mission is to provide world-class goalie training through a whole person approach. So cold exposure, I believe, will help you as a goaltender, pre-game, post-game of workout, and then daily. But I think it'll also help you be your best person. If you're your best person, you're going to be your best goalie, and vice versa. So I really hope that this empowers you and that you enjoy it. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to our Tendy Talk here. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, obviously YouTube here live, and we'll probably repost it. So, if you're a note taker like myself, or you'd like to look at some of the elements, certainly, feel free to do that. And these are a few of the sources that I utilized for this presentation. There's many more, and I'm a big research nerd. So if you'd like to see any of those articles, I can send you PDFs of those. Share the sources. We can post them in the comments, and I'd love to dialogue. If you have any questions, you have any ideas, or ways that you found that are helpful to you in your performance, would love to chat with you about it. So again, thank you for joining us. Hope to connect with you guys soon, and I'll sauce it back to Coach Butts, and we'll take a little Q&A, and we'll chat a little bit more as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Can we all just get some hype in the chat real quick for Coach Spidey? Such an excellent chat. Phenomenal. I'm definitely going to be taking the cold water challenge. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to it the next 7 days. If you're in our Facebook group, you'll see that I'll probably post after the first day. I'll post like a little story on how it was, but it's going to be exciting to see what it does to even just our own personal lives and everything. We'll get some hype in the chat. Oh, there's Zanos here. Yeah.
I've got a question for you. I know as a dietitian and a certified personal trainer, certified yoga instructor, so on. You've probably run into some of these techniques and so on. But is there anything you'd like to add as far as cold exposure for injury, prevention for muscle fatigue, muscle performance, those types of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's not, like you said in the beginning of your presentation, if for some of you that came in late, it's not a one thing or a one answer or a one size fits all. Kind of all these little things work together. So what I would say the biggest thing is trigger pointing, foam rolling. We're gonna have some great content coming out to you guys. But Nate, would you agree that if you foam roll and do this cold therapy and you're starting to eat healthier, all those things together make it better?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I want to put another plug in to the wimhofmethod.com. I know I have it one of my slides, but Wim Hof is, put most of his life's work now into cold exposure and talks about the combination of, good sleep, exercise, diet, and cold exposure, breath control, and how it all affects everything, right? So, I mean, obviously, if you sleep better, you're going to be, uh, you know, better physically. If you have more physical activity, you're going to sleep better, and cold exposure, and vice versa. So, um, yeah, I think all of those things are important. And if you're thinking about what I'd be really excited about is if people do this daily, but also if some people experiment with pregame or postgame, how it affects their mental focus, concentration, their mood, those types of things. I would encourage you to do like your pregame warm up, foam rolling and stuff prior to the cold shower. And actually, that's what I do in the mornings. I'll foam roll, do my workout, foam roll, and then take the shower. And that combination, it just has me so ready for the day. So, totally agree with you, Butsy, that a combination is definitely the way to go.
Awesome. All right.
So how about one last question
Yeah,
I
for
do have,
sure.
Butsy, for you is about like treating, cold exposure through a shower is going to treat like the whole body, so more
Yeah.
systemically. But and I usually let it run over my shoulders and neck, which I have some inflammation from time to time just with being on a computer and my nose in a book too often, those types of things. But how about cold exposure to a very specific area, whether it be just a bag of ice or something like that? Do you recommend that for injury or after workouts, that type of thing?
Well, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the number one thing you want to do if you get an injury of any sort, or even if you feel like as goalies sometimes we have a practice and it's like, oh, I tweaked my groin. Common phrase in goaltending. You may not have torn anything, but it's beyond the it's beyond the point of soreness to where it's hard to even play the next day, and that's when icing is definitely the number one. And a lot of people go straight to heat, but you would actually ice, elevate, and one of the latter things that you would do would be to add heat and some of these other things you can add like a brand like BryoFreeze or any icy hot that you could add. That would be secondary to just straight up grabbing a bag of peas out of the freezer and throwing it on. And then also I'd say that there is some out there that like a cold shower. If you're saying like, let's say you're in the shower and you just had some digestion stuff going on, or why not sit there and say, hey, I'm just gonna sit here and have the shower run on my stomach for a little bit, because a lot of times if you're having digestive issues or things, if it's not something that's deep medical, it could just be because your body's overworked and you need to just kind of take a step back, and that cold will help for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. And I don't know. I'm always amazed at how such a simple thing can make such a big impact, both shown in the research and literature, but also just in my own personal life. And yeah, I did. I feel empowered. At first it was really intimidating because I just loved my hot showers. First of all, I didn't want to get rid of them, which found out that I didn't have to because of that hot and then cold alteration was found to be really helpful. On a physiological level, what I've read is that the heat and cold, they're going to open up and restrict your blood vessels, so that they're performing at their best. And it's just amazing how such a small thing can help out. But again, just that feeling of empowerment afterwards, feeling more resilient, feeling a little bit tougher, and feeling like, man, if I can do this habit, I can incorporate other habits too. So people who are looking for any of the benefits we discussed, I really hope you're able to give it a shot, and you find it as beneficial as I have.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me on stream here and going through Tendy Talk. I know this is just a start to many more to come. Even after we get through this COVID-19 stuff, we would love to bring you guys so many more resources like this, especially to those that don't get to sit face to face with us every single day. It's just fantastic to be able to connect with you here. And we really appreciate you tuning in. If you want to know more about what we do at Goalrobber, if you're kind of curious at some of the other things we do, because this is just a small thing we do on Friday afternoons, you should head over to our website at goalrobber.hockey and check out what else we got going on. Check out some of the camps that we're going to be heading up to this summer. We're really excited for what we have in store. And as always, we want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell in the bottom right, get notified every time that we go live or post new content. We got some exciting content that we're going to be coming out with here, including some sled hockey off-ice drills that I'll encourage all of our able-bodied goalies to go through, because it's going to just challenge you even more. Once I sat down and started doing vision drills instead of standing up, it's just a whole new perspective. So some unique things we have lined up. We're excited for you to check that out coming soon. But until next time, keep stopping pucks, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right, see you guys.
Made of glass, it seems you're shattering a part of me, and I can take it. My heart is so hollow, the blood has an echo inside of my veins. My heart is so hollow, your voice is an arrow, making the pain. My heart is so hollow, hollow, hollow. My heart is so hollow, hollow, hollow.
It's YouTube Music. Download the app today and get a trial of Music Premium on us. Restrictions apply.